Cleveland. Say hi to Bill Squire. He's right over there, too.
Hey, creepy hugs, everybody.
Mary Santora is with us.
What up?
And Poundcake is back in Studio G.
Afternoon, white people.
If you'd like to join us, please do. Number's 216-578-1007 or 800-348-1007. Send me a text if you like, 35192. You can watch the show live if you're so inclined. I know there's people who love to look at our shining faces. At AlanCoxShow.com. If you listen on the iHeartRadio app, you can drop us quick messages there as well. I know a lot of people, even though, it takes a bit of time, there's a learning curve with any technology, and so there's people who will leave talkback messages for me, but I can't understand a word they're saying because they're either doing it far away or they're doing it too close, or it's, you can play with it, I guess, and then kind of figure out what works for you. I've never used it myself. I don't know if there's an option to listen to your message before you send it, or if you just send it. I mentioned that we are downtown Cleveland, right here at 668 Euclid, coming up on just a couple of weeks away from our one-year anniversary in these studios. And boy, as we have the one studio with the big picture window here at iHeart Cleveland, they call this the Showcase Studio, because we're facing right out here onto Euclid Avenue, where you see all manner, all walks of life. I'm preparing the last few seconds of, the pre-broadcast here, and I'm looking out the window, just kind of taking it all in, and there's a guy who walks by, and he's punching himself in the head.
Oh.
But he's really well-dressed. And that's the thing you got to remember. Everybody has this notion that people who are mentally ill or who might be on some kind of, he didn't look like a homeless guy. You know what I mean? Like,
right,
there's a certain stereotype that you can attach to homeless people, or whatever they're currently being called. The unhoused, homeless people. They're walking around, a lot of people, they're in really, really bad shape. Obviously they're mentally ill, or, your kind of standard panhandler. They're just, they look distraught. They're unkempt. That's the image you get in your head. Then you have people walking around who probably have an apartment or a house, and they get themselves dressed. This guy was walking by. He had on like a black turtleneck. He looked like maybe he was mid-60s, right? He's got a black turtleneck on. He's got a black beret on. And he's wearing relatively stylish jeans. It looked like he had loafers on. He's just walking by slowly, and I'm watching him as he stops to talk to himself, and he's got like a messenger bag slung over his shoulder, so it's on his back, cross body. So it's a guy who's, rather stylishly dressed, but he's walking by and he stops, and he's wearing some rings. He looked scrubbed, but then he walked a little bit longer and then stopped. I'm watching the whole thing unfold because I'm fascinated. Because at first, we can only see so much of the street here. So anytime I see somebody talking, I think they're either on the phone, earbuds, right? You see people all the time now who they look like they're talking to themselves, but they're not. They're talking to a person on their phone. So that's my first thought. They're talking to someone on the phone. My second thought is, they're talking to someone up the street. They see a friend coming that I can't yet see in the frame here. Then it becomes apparent that he's talking to himself. And so he walks a little bit longer, and then he stops, and he talks a little bit more and starts punching himself in the head. And then stops and checks to see if there's any traffic coming and crosses the street. And it was a fascinating thing to watch because, as much as people talk about being on spectrums and things like that, or is it spectra? I don't know. That's a spectrum too. Not everybody's sitting on the corner panhandling. Some people really look good and still punch themselves in the head. And that's the kind of thing we see here sometimes at 668 Euclid. I'll tell you what I saw last night on the way home. On my way home, we're talking out Westlake area, right? There's a DoubleTree Hotel right there at the Crocker exit. And there's a couple of quick lights there too. And so I am kind of going slowly because I've just gotten off the highway, and I'm looking over there. And I see a girl in the front corner of the parking lot. So I'm at a red light, and the next light is not that far over. There's a couple of quick intersections there. And so I'm going slowly because there's a couple of reds. There's a girl in the front corner of the parking lot. So she's closest to the main road, parked. There's no other cars around her. She's right next to the tree line that would separate the hotel parking lot from then the residential areas. And she's standing behind her car with her trunk open. And she has like a cozy top on, like a cover-up. Mm-hmm. These gauzy things that you gals put on when you left the pool, right?
Yes.
And she's changing behind her car. And she looks like a young girl. I don't know what her condition was or whatever. And she's bent down. She's on the grass. Her car is pulled up all the way up to the grass there. And she is putting things on a towel on the ground that she's standing on. And she proceeds to take her cover-up off. And she's got no bottoms on. Now, mind you, I'm already driving slowly because there are a couple of red lights. Then I slow way down, like way down, praying the light doesn't turn green because I want to see where this goes. But then the light turned green, and I didn't get to see where it went other than the fact that because she did the full over her head thing. It wasn't like she was kind of trying to be covert or surreptitious about it. She pulled the whole thing off. And no bottoms on. Like a bikini top, but no bottoms. Now, she's facing away from me when she does this, so I only, I see her from behind. But that was enough. And then, who knows? But wild. So you don't even have to be in downtown Cleveland to see half-naked people, is the moral of the story.
Maybe the guy who was punching himself lost the Powerball, and he's really mad. And he punched himself in the head because he spent a bunch of money on it.
Did you spend a bunch of money on it?
No, I spent $20 on it. Okay. I won 4 though. But maybe he just came from the casino, or maybe he didn't land a deal at work, and he has to punch himself in the head to be like, "You stupid idiot! Couldn't close the Johnson case."
The Johnson case, yeah. Oh, what am I going to do with all these papers now? The Johnson case. Well, we've all had our shares of ups and downs, right? We're all on some kind of success and failure spectrum. We've all had disappointments. Have you ever punched yourself in the head over it?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I haven't.
I've never punched, but I've done the face palm, damn it.
But that's not what I'm talking about.
Glass on my head.
Punching yourself in the head repeatedly.
So he was winding up and punching.
Well,
I've done a tap, come on.
No.
I slammed my face into the steering wheel.
You know what I'm talking about. I mean, both hands were fists, and he's beating his temples. He's punching himself in the head.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
The guy's doing this against his head.
Okay,
he's banging himself in the head.
Don't get mad at me. You're making it sound like he's taking his hand and blasting himself in the face.
What's confusing about punching himself in the head?
Because it sounds more aggressive than I think it is. Like hitting yourself in the head just like this, dang it, dang it, dang it. Or taking a fist to your whole head into your own mouth,
all right,
knocking your teeth out.
Let's use your example. Do you do that very often where you're banging your head with your fists?
If you did something stupid at work or you got fired or you got caught cheating.
You've punched yourself in the head.
If you're at a point, we don't know where this guy's coming from.
That's precisely what I'm saying.
His whole life might have just blown up. He got caught banging his secretary, his wife left him, and he got fired. That is what did I do?
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds like the beginning of a Steve Martin movie in the 90s.
Yeah, right.
Well, he was certainly dressed for the occasion in that black turtleneck.
And my daughter's getting married.
And beret. Hey, Michael.
Yeah.
What's going on?
I was wanting to talk about this. I was looking at my news feed today. They were talking about something about a volcanic eruption in the Cleveland Mountains in Alaska. I was wondering, is there any way that could affect us here in Cleveland? And Alaska isn't too far away. I was just wondering, I guess they raised the threat level up to yellow.
Threat level midnight is where we are, I believe, on that. Mary's been to Alaska. I think she's the only one of us who's been to Alaska.
Yes.
Did you see anything erupt there?
Just the crowds I was performing for.
Hey! Yeah, she did it! Yeah, I don't know, Michael, if erupting volcanoes in Alaska will have anything here, but I would guess no. I'm no seismologist. I don't know anything, but I bet it's not gonna happen there. So there's some from Mary's show in Juneau, right? Where were you? Fairbanks, Juneau?
I was is in Anchorage.
Anchorage,
The
Alaska.
other one.
The other one,
There's
sure.
only 3.
All right, well, listen, I've got to take a break here. If you want to send a text for something, 35192. Another $1,000 is straight ahead of you. Listen for those keywords because they come every single hour to grab $1,000 from the Buzzard. Bookie, that next one's coming up at 2:30.
It's the Alan Cox Show. Everywhere on our free iHeartRadio.